मेधां मे इन्द्रो ददातु मेधां देवी सरस्वती मेधां मे अश्विनावुभौ आधत्तां पुष्करस्रजाः आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमधोबलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Hearty fraternal greetings and good wishes to all the brothers and the sisters. We are considering the work that the mother Khyati conducts, drawing support from the Prajapati Bhrugu. Bhrugu means brilliance. Khyati means application of that brilliance. Bhrugu means brilliance. Khyati means application of that brilliance. The application has its double function of expansion, contraction. It also has in its potential the principle of death and the principle of transcending death. It also has in its potential the principle of prana or life force and the process of accomplishing with the help of prana the sacred sound to transcend into regions of immortality. So the Ajna center, which is represented by Bhurgu and whose function is Khyati, has many-sided abilities. These abilities are koncham taggicha. These abilities are cherished in creation. And the brilliance that this Prajapati transmits is what we call the light of Gayatri. It is the light of Gayatri that is transmitted through him. We speak of Bhargo Deva. Bhargo Deva. Asya Deva Bhargaha, meaning the brilliance, we relate to the source of the brilliance, and that brilliance comes to us through Ajna center. Therefore, the contemplation at Ajna center is not only fulfilling but also enables one to be all potent. It is, you gain the power which we call the potential. The potential of the divinity is gained, the knowledge of the divinity is gained, and is therefore considered to be the most sublime state that one can accomplish by relating to Bhrugu. The mantra Gayatri, when we chant, we should visualize the light in the head, and that light through the eye, through the third eye center of us, is transmitting itself into every nook and corner of our body, and further transmitting, emitting the light through every part of our body. That's how Gayatri has to be invoked. The all-permeating light shall receive its focus into our Ajna center. From there it is transmitted through our nervous system into every detail of our body. The very mantra of Gayatri, which you all know, is seeking embracement of that light. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Let that light that flows through central sun may embrace us all and then stimulate our wills. For that we contemplate upon Gayatri. So that the brilliance that is expressed through the Ajna center is what we call the brilliance of Savitru or Savita, meaning the central sun. Central sun is the sun to our sun. We have central sun at Ajna and the sun, whom we know at the heart, cosmic sun at Sahasrara. For this detail you can refer to the book on sun. The book on sun gives the triple sun and its functioning in us. So it is Bhrugu that conducts enlightenment. It is Bhrugu who enables embracement of light into our entire being. So therefore it is another dimension relating to Khyati, There can be no better benefit than this to the human beings, that it enables reception and transmission of the light of the central sun. Then again, there is another lady, another feminine aspect of Bhrigu, which is called Usyana. Khyati is said to be one female dimension. Usyana is another female dimension, meaning a distinct nature within the Prajapati Bhrigu. When we say wife, it's nature. We are speaking of the nature of that principle. This is also of great importance, the second, another dimension which we call Usyana. Usyana means residence. Residence means something that contains, something that holds. We are residing in this house, the house is containing us. If this water is residing in this glass, the glass is it's called Usyana, container. The light that is emitted, the brilliance that is emitted is one aspect. Containing that light into a form is another aspect. For example, we have electricity coming into the filament. The filament contains the electricity. The container is important. This container is also the nature of this Prajapati Bhrigu, the third Prajapati, and he has another nature, and therefore his feminine aspect is given another name as Usyana. Apart from Khyati, there is Usyana. So this Usyana contains the brilliance. And this brilliance, when the brilliance is contained in a form, it is called a spark. It's a spark. The spark of light. This spark of light is called Shukra or Venus. Shukra or Venus. It generates in us. It is called the sperm in the male, it constitutes the sperm. In the female, it constitutes the ovum. The sperm or the ovum is the most brilliant tissue of the human body. There are 7 tissues for the human body, 7 tissues. The grossest being the bone. The grossest of the 7 tissues is the bone. The subtlest of the 7 tissues is the sperm. This sperm has the ability to reproduce. The sperm has the ability to reproduce, regenerate. It is like the germinating principle in a seed. It can cause regeneration. It is one of the most sublime functions of the principle of Venus, that it regenerates. Man can regenerate himself through this sperm. In his sperm, he exists. His brilliance exists. That's why the Veda says, The one whom we call the Son is no other than the Father reborn. The one whom we call the Son is no other than the Father reborn. That's why we say Atma vai Putra Namasi. It's only the self that comes down as the Son. So as Father, so the Son. As Father, so the Son. Why? Because it is the brilliance which is the essence of the Father that takes birth through the sperm generated as the Son. If you recollect, Jesus the Christ says, the Father and the Son are one and the same. I and my Father in heaven are one and the same. Because Father is regenerated as Son. And through Son, again the Father comes back. This is how there is continuity. Father, Son, again through the Son the Father comes. Again through the Father the Son comes. This is how there is the science of regeneration, which is conducted by Venus. It's a sublime function of Venus. It is called, the one who is bound to die can regenerate himself. There is the story how the teacher Sukra causes regeneration of the mortals who are bound to die. There is a path of immortality, there is a path of regeneration of souls who experience death. So this regeneration is an account of the feminine principle which is called Ushana. It contains the very essence of the brilliance of the Father. Contains the very essence of the brilliance of the Father, and that forms the first tissue. It is called Sukra. It is so brilliant, it can be made more brilliant. It can be made more brilliant by one's own practices. Its degeneration is called dissipation of energy. When there is an involution of this sperm, then there is the downflow of that brilliance. So the seers who knew the value of the sperm, they utilized the sperm to regenerate only for purposes of proffering bodies to the incarnating souls, and for the rest of the time they were using the sperm that is generated in them to reverse its direction from Ajna to Sahasrara instead of letting it flow through the Sushumna Kalam via Mooladhara and the genitals. By doing excessively a downward flow of this energy, one denies to himself the brilliance that is bestowed on him. It is called abuse of the brilliance as is given to him. That is how all these sex regulations have come to be. The Prajapatis, as I said, all of them are naturally inclined to relate to Sahasrara. They stay at Ajna and they relate to Sahasrara. It is only for purposes of helping the creation and enabling the beings to gain bodies for existence in various planes, these Prajapatis, patriarchs, they cooperate with the Creator in bringing out billions and billions of beings into the various planes of creation. That's why these Prajapatis are said to be the true procreators who have been able to bring out the souls which are intensely oriented for incarnation. In the beginning of the creation, there is an intense inclination for the souls to get into incarnation and to fulfill that which they did not fulfill in the previous incarnation. So someone have to help them to get back and then work out. And that work is entrusted to Prajapatis by the Creator. That's why chiefly the 10 Prajapatis multiply and give their brilliance to the incarnating souls so that they can continue to fulfill themselves. That's how we have the statement coming 10 times 10. 10 times 10 the wheel rotates, in the sense. In all the 10 states of consciousness, they give out beings according to the quality of those beings, according to the quality of their own beings. Having done that, they don't anymore indulge into the activity of sex. This is what, when understood, a man and a woman would not involve into excessive sex activity, since they are only discharging that which is available to them to gain brilliance and to gain the sublime kingdoms. The kingdoms of light cannot be gained when you are abusing that energy which is generated in you. So therefore they reverse the order of the flow of the sperm. They reverse the flow of the order of the sperm. That's why the energies which are intended to move upwards, they are set downwards when you are into sex activity. Therefore the wisdom science says moderate sex activity for purposes of cooperating with the incarnating souls is part of the law of creation. Excessive sex activity for the sake of sex without causing the necessary proffering of bodies to incarnating souls is an indulgence and it's ignorance. It is an indulgence, it's an ignorance. It degenerates a man to be a dull head. A dull head. The brilliance flows down. So the brain, which presides over the whole system, its content is slowly drawn down and the brain content is drained out. So here this Usana, the containing principle, contains the brilliance and forms the sperm which is called Sukra. This tissue, the seventh tissue is called Sukra in Sanskrit, sperm in English. What you call spermatozoa in English is what we call in Sanskrit Sukra. And this Sukra has a purpose for proffering bodies to incarnating souls. This you can do. Therefore, sex activity was originally intended by wisdom as a responsibility which you discharge by proffering bodies to some beings. Then your debt to the Creator is over. Thereafter, it is the same sperm which you utilize the power of it, you turn the brilliance upwards and realize the 1,000-petal lotus and remain as a gem in the 1,000-petal lotus, which we call the state of Manipadme Hum, the gem in the lotus, which is also called the state of Brahman. And Master CVV wants us to realize Brahman and be embodiments of Brahman. He proposes that we all reach Sahasrara and stay put there, preside over the whole life activity, staying at the top of the head. That is how the sex activity and its purpose is understood. Only for proffering bodies, and at other times you utilize the same spermatozoa for your further enlightenment. For your further enlightenment. That's how the seers function. And that is what they recommended to the posterity. So this spermatozoa, which is called Sukra, it is an important principle in creation which comes out of Ajna center, or the center of Bhrugu, whose nature is Usana. He can create resilience. That's where you have the most brilliant causal body. The most brilliant causal body. The one who regularly resides in the Ajna center. By inclination he resides in Ajna center, but not in solar plexus. Normal humans, they are generally located in solar plexus with the related thoughts. It's an activity of fire, continuous. It's like a fire ritual. You keep on thinking, and burning the energies. That's solar plexus. That's the state for normal humans, because we are mind-oriented and thought-oriented. But the same fire in the upper regions tends to be solar light and even cosmic light, isn't it? The fire below the diaphragm is a frictional fire. The fire below the diaphragm is frictional fire. The fire between the diaphragm and the throat is solar fire. In the sense, between the diaphragm and Ajna, it's the solar. Thereafter it is cosmic fire. So from solar, one would like to tend to be cosmic than to get into frictional fire. So this Sukra is therefore very helpful when we redirect its movement. And that is what is presided over by the principal Venus. It is the principal Venus that has the body which we call the planet Venus. Planet Venus is the body of the principle, just like our body is but a visible aspect of our being. So Sukra has double purpose. He can enable regeneration and continuity of dynasty on the planet. It's a dimension that your dynasty shall continue on the planet. By this you are pleasing the third Logos. The third Logos, whom we call the Creator, his work is to create forms and enable the souls to enter these forms and fulfill their purposes. It is his work. So when you do that, the Creator is pleased. But if you just use that energy only for the joy of sex, it is considered to be ignorance. Abuse of spermatozoa abuse of spermatozoa and ovum would result in discontinuity of your dynasty on the planet. There would be a discontinuity. That means there is no further chain of yours on the planet. When there is no succession to you, you are not promoted. When your work is taken over by someone, you can take to a higher work. When there is no successor to you, you have to come back and do the same work. The son should succeed father. The student should succeed the teacher. Then only the teacher is delivered or discharged. Likewise, the father is discharged and delivered when son assumes the same quality of functioning on the planet. Then the son gives birth to another son, the grandson and the great-grandson. By the time in the dynasty the great-grandson happens, the first one is already out of the circle because he contributes to his ascent. For this reason, continuation of dynasty was considered a great responsibility. Any human, be it male or female, they have a responsibility to ensure that their chain is maintained on the planet and they conduct the work on earth so that we can move to Sukra. And when the grandson is born and he continues the same work, then your son comes to Sukra and you go to Mercury. And then your grandson gives birth to another son whom we call the great-grandson. He continues the work on earth. Then your grandson moves to Venus, your son moves to Mercury and you move to Sun. That's how there is a facility created when you ensure through the family system the continuity of the work of goodwill. If your son does anything wrong, you are pulled down. If your student does certain things which are wrong, you are pulled down as a teacher. The teachers are pulled down by their students when the students do not behave well. That is why the teacher is very selective in accepting a student. The teacher is very selective in accepting a student because he must ensure that in no case his student shall misbehave. If he misbehaves, the student is pulling the leg of the teacher. And when the teacher is pulled down, the teacher's teacher is also pulled down. And the teacher's teacher is also pulled down. It's a chain. That is what is given by globe chains. The concept of globe chains is not just limited to the planets. We are also a planet in a different dimension. So you have in you is vested the responsibility that you uplift your teacher by continuing his work. The more you continue his work and manifest it, you are uplifting your teacher. If you are doing the contrary in his name, you are pulling him down. Regularly, we catch the two legs and pull him down. So is the case with the son. So is the case with the son. When the son does which is not lawful, the father is pulled down. That's why in our invocation we say, Avatu Mam, Avatu Vaktaro. Isn't it? You chant it, but you should know the meaning was given long ago, and I hope everyone knows it when he chants it. Avatumam avatu bhaktaram. May I be protected, may the teacher be protected. See, teacher is protected when you do the righteous acts. Teacher is exposed to certain crisis when you do things otherwise. So, what is teacher-student relation is also the father-son relation. So therefore, Shukra gives us two dimensions. One is bringing down responsible souls. It's not that we have any kind of a son. If you have any kind of a son, through that son you receive more worries than joy, isn't it? There are mothers and fathers who are regularly troubled by their children, isn't it? When you are so very regularly troubled by your children, you would think, why at all I gave birth to them? It would have been a happier situation if I had not given birth to this baby. So that should not happen. Therefore, it is Sukra, either for internal upward movement or external movement. He presides over it. For the details relating to it, there is a story which we can relate to, which is explained in the book Mysteries of Sagittarius. It was recently released a month ago, a year ago. Mysteries of Sagittarius. There is a path of procreation called Pitriyana. There is a path of movement into the planes of light, the lighted path and the procreating path. The two paths are presided over by Venus, Shukra. That's why for all esoteric experiences, for unfoldment of esoteric dimensions in you, what we call the occult revelations, the principle that presides is Shukra, not Jupiter. Jupiter informs, but your association with Shukra enables you to realize the sublime interior worlds of light, like this subtle world as also the causal world, and lead you up to your Ajna center, from where you can further relate to Brahman. Such is the work which is made possible through Bhrigu, the third Prajapati, and his nature or female, whom we call Usena. This should be borne in mind. So these are all the dimensions relating to the functioning of the third center in us, which is Ajna. We normally take Ajna as to be the second center after Sahasrara. But the scripture speaks of a center beyond Sahasrara, Marichi and Kala. Then at Sahasrara, Atri and Anasuya. At Ajna, it is Bhrigu and Khyati, and Bhrigu and Usyana. When you speak of Usyana, you also have the principle of formations. Formation. See, before that there are no formations, but because of Usana there is a formation. When there is a formation, then there is the essence can be contained in it. And the most sublime container is called Usana, meaning the causal body. the causal body, which is full of brilliant diamond light. That's why for the birth of causal body in us, the center at Ajna shall have to be opened. That is the reason why contemplations are done of light at Ajna by seers. Those are called the tapasvins. Tapas. The contemplating center is Ajna. That's why the knowers always desire that we recollect the importance of the center and suggested that on a daily basis, as you enter into the work, you recollect the center by touching that center either with the ring finger or with the middle finger, and as an add-on to that recollection, they say set some mark over there so that it stimulates the energies of Agnya. This custom comes from the seers, from the Prajapatis, that we set a brow mark. The tradition of brow mark comes from the sublime seers who are the forerunners of this humanity. They are the ones through whom we all came through. And therefore, when you get that kind of inspiration, you would start marking at the Ajna. They start with brow and then go up to Ajna, and even sometimes they even make a vertical column. You see Masari came with a vertical column. It means I am hell-bent, meaning very strongly decided that I shall move upwards. That is how it is. So there are so many dimensions of this. And in fact, if you see the Bible, the genealogy of Christ is given in the Bible, from whom? From Abraham to Jesus, how the lineage has been. The lineage is given. In olden times they used to set the lineage on the rod that they hold, the rod of wisdom. If you go through the rod, you know from whom who has come, from whom who has come, from whom who has come. This is what is maintained in India even today. If you are asked, to whom do you belong, to which Prajapati you belong, to which Prajapati you belong, there is a way to notice it, and it is passed on from generation to generation. Generation to generation, the lineage is known. When you know the lineage, you shall have to know that Prajapati, what is his function, but for what he is in creation. Am I in tune with him? Is a question. Am I functioning in tune with him? If you claim to be some rishis, if you claim to be some rishi species, it's not enough if you just claim it to be. Are you in tune with that? The spirit of that Prajapati is a question. And every Prajapati has a great role to play in creation. So aligning with him and receiving the inspiration to do similar work as he did is most important thing to do. That's how the lineages are maintained in ancient times. Today most of the humanity, they do not know their lineage because the traditions are lost. The traditions are lost, so people do not know to which Prajapati they belong. So a question arose, how do we relate to our progenitor when we do not? know who he is. For that the Prajapatis have given a solution. The Prajapatis have stated that if you do not know your lineage, you can take Kashyapa as your Prajapati. Kashyapa. Because most of the beings on this earth have come through Kashyapa. That is the reason why the cells orient to Kashyapa. And when you decide that the founder of your race is Kashyapa, you have to do what Kashyapa does. What is Kashyapa? All comprehension. It's the ultimate, isn't it? Kashyapa is born to Marichi. So Kashyapa is the all-seeing eye. So all-seeing eye shall be the goal for each one of the human. So that since it is the most high, it is suggested that if you do not know specifically your lineage, you take it that you belong to Kashyapa and work out your comprehensions in a vertical manner. There is a comprehension of the world, and you can go on expanding your comprehension of the physical plane. Then there can be a comprehension of the subtle world, vertical comprehension. Move vertical and move horizontal. If you move vertical, the horizontal comprehensions are also known through vertical movement. The beauty of vertical movement is the more and more you move vertical in your energy, the surroundings are better understood. But if you move only horizontally, you do not gain the higher understanding. That's why the CS say, move upwards in your being up to the point where you are beyond your Sahasrara. That is where Kashyapa is. So therefore these genealogies and the stories of Prajapatis have become guidelines for humans to fulfill themselves on the planet. The Prajapatis are all fulfilled ones. The Prajapatis, they are all fulfilled ones, and they are the centers from whom the solar systems emerge. That's how they are. Each one, for example, the Great Bear, as I say, each star gives birth to a few solar systems. A few solar systems. And they guide solar systems. That's the stature of a Prajapati. And their center exists in the human. That is the beauty of the human. The one who gives birth to solar systems, he has also ensured that his center is in us, in the human. Through that center you can relate to him. So these are some more dimensions of Prajapati which have come to be, and with this we conclude the introduction of the work of the third Prajapati and the third and fourth female, that is Khyati and Ushana. Then we come to the throat center. The throat center, where we have the seer Angiras. And his nature or his lady is said to be Shraddha. Shraddha means a deep commitment. It's a very deep commitment. There is no true translation to this word in English. Shraddha, when it is there, you are very devotional. When Shraddha is there, you are very dedicated. When Shraddha is there, you are very committed. When Shraddha is there, you are very much consecrated. When Shraddha is there, your energy is completely focused over there. These are all the dimensions of Shraddha. It is what we call here and now. You are so well focused. You are so well focused. When you have the focus in relation to something, you get the best out of it, isn't it? In anything, when you are deeply focused, then you get the best out of it. When you are casual, you don't get the scriptures are there, but there can be variety of reading the scriptures. But to get the essence of the scripture, how do you get it? When teacher speaks, how do you get the essence of the teaching? In any concept, how do you get the best, the very core of understanding of that? That nature in us is called Shraddha. It is only those who have this faculty, they are eligible for knowledge, otherwise they are not eligible for knowledge. There is a statement in Bhagavad Gita which says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The one who has nourished this principle of Shraddha, it is he who stands eligible to gain the pure knowledge. Otherwise he gains some kind of distorted versions of knowledge. Because he is not so very committed, he is not so very consecrated, he is not so very focused, he is not so very devoted, he is not so very dedicated. All these words together is Shraddha. It's not just with one word in English we cannot explain Shraddha. That is the quality of the throat. Throat is a magical center. Throat is a magical center and man is bestowed with it. It's an endowment on man. Man is endowed with the throat and the related speech. Others don't have it. Neither the devas have it, nor the animals have it. Only humans have it. It is the fourth center, and we are the fourth. We belong to the fourth kingdom. Human kingdom is the fourth kingdom, either from above downwards or from below upwards. So how do you use it? How do you use it? If you know how to function with the throat center, you get the essence of anything and everything. And Angiras, the very meaning, the Angiras itself means the essence of the limbs of yourself, as also the essence of the limbs of creation, the parts of creation. Angiras. He forms the very content of the being, because what is the essence of every being? The essence of every being is the soul. So the expression of the soul can happen through your speeches. You can transmit soul quality through your utterance. You can transmit emotion through utterance. You can transmit mental concepts through utterance. That's what we call hearty speeches, Through the heart, the soul expresses. This is what comes through Shraddha. When you have the Shraddha, you have a soul expression. That when the soul expresses through the throat, then it magnetizes people. Not all people can magnetize. Speeches do not magnetize, but there are some whose speech magnetizes. It not only magnetizes but also uplifts. Uplifts. It comes when you have the needed Shraddha. The contrary to Shraddha is what we call indifference. Indifference. People are generally indifferent. They are not so very committed, focused, dedicated. They are not. When you apply with this Shraddha to anything, it has to yield fruits. It has to yield. If you say something, it happens. That's how it is. Because it is the soul at its expression. It is the soul at its expression. That means Angiras is the essence and Shraddha expresses it. We mostly live in a surfacial world where we, for the sake of social etiquette, we keep on talking many things which we don't mean. Isn't it? We talk many things which we do not really mean. We have developed tremendous artificial mannerisms, manners and etiquette, and only for the sake of being social, we say many things which the soul does not really mean. Those are all what we call lip service, we say. Lip service, tongue service. It's not an expression of the soul. When the soul is in its expression, each expression transmits light. Transmits light. And it gives a deep experience of the essence of the beings. That is why it is said that these two, Angiras and Shraddha, they are said to have very agreeable forms. The children, that means the products of Angiras and Shraddha, meaning the functioning of the throat, will give out very agreeable, attractive, magnetic forms. That means when they say something, the others are drawn to it. Why? Because it has such the magnetism of the soul. When they say something, it is very electrical. These are the two qualities of the soul. The soul is electrical, the soul is magnetic. So the electrical part causes enlightenment, the magnetic part causes harmonizing. From disorder to order, through speeches, wise men set the listeners from disorder to order. And they also enable enlightenment. Most of the enlightenment happened on the planet in a teacher-student relationship, isn't it? And the teacher functions with the help of the throat. And the teacher transmits himself through teaching. Don't think. Only then he is a real teacher. A teacher is not one who explains the concepts of wisdom. He transmits himself, the soul. His soul is transmitted through his expression, and that is what is felt as presence by the listeners. And each one receives the answer. Many, they say, oh, I received many answers through your teaching, isn't it? But I don't have the list of questions that you hold in you. But you are all answered. How is it answered? It is soul to soul. So it is the soul that permeates through teaching. It is not some mental, it is not from some mental or buddhic reservoir. You keep on receiving things and transmitting them without your involvement into it. You can hold something in the mental plane. You can hold something in the buddhic plane. So the buddhic plane information, the mental plane information, with the help of the language you keep on transmitting and you are not involved in it. Do not the lecturers and teachers and the universities, colleges, don't they transmit some information to you? Transmission of information is different from transmission of the soul itself. When you have Angiras with you, and the related nature of Angiras as Shraddha, when it comes through you, it goes from soul to soul. The essence is received and the essence starts working. That's why the masters of wisdom, they say the teachings you receive may not immediately be beneficial to you, but they are already gone into deep down into the soul, and at much later time they unfold from within. At much later time they unfold from within. Normally we think that when we receive teachings we should get enlightened. It is only for that Jesus gives a parable. Jesus gives a parable. The farmer sows seeds, isn't it? He sows seeds. Does he dig the earth every day to see how the seed is growing? He is very sure that the seeds that he has sown will eventually bring out the field, the crop, the garden, isn't it? You sow 10 seeds here and there into good soil. The gardener is very sure of the invisible growth that the seed is taking to within the earth. And he would know the timetable by which this seed sprouts and comes out of the earth as a crop or as a plant. Likewise, the teacher knows what he is sowing. What he sows, he knows will one day sprout from the soul via buddhi into mental plane. That is the beauty of esoteric teaching. It's not like any other teaching. It's not I am not reproducing anything from the book, but I hold the book because it is the means. All that I have been speaking from yesterday is not in this book, but it happens because that's the beauty of Shraddha. When you have that, you apply that Shraddha to anything, it is realized. You get it. You get it. Shraddha is what we call a deep commitment. A deep commitment. It is not a casual relation. It is not an indifferent relation. There is no indifference. It is not a half-hearted functioning. It is not a lip service. Not a lip service. So these, they have given birth to four daughters, they say. Again, 4 daughters and 2 sons. Shraddha and Angiras from the throat. 4 daughters and 2 sons are born. That's how the scripture says. The two suns are, one is Jupiter, another is his co-born, Brihaspati. Jupiter is the teacher to the celestials. So the potential for birth of a teacher is at the throat center. If you wish to be a good teacher, which is a functioning of Jupiter, you shall have to be very, very, very responsible about your throat. Otherwise you cannot be a teacher of the essence of wisdom. You cannot be transmitting the soul energy through your teaching. For that, how are you to use your throat center? How are we to use our throat? How sacred is the throat center? How sacred is the throat center? It is the mother of all utterances. So it should be utilized for sacred utterances. It should be utilized for blessing. It should be generally kept silent. It should speak out with full intent when it speaks out. These are the dimensions that come out in the process. Gradually, the center gives birth to a teacher who can inspire people. Not all can teach and inspire. They may teach, they cannot inspire. The inspiration is naturally developed for the one in whom there is the commitment for sound and silence. Sound and silence. In the initial teachings we had the importance of sound, how to relate the discipline of sound is very much given. That discipline when we follow, our throat tends to be extremely pure. That's why it is called Vishuddhi. Vishuddhi means specially purified. Specially purified. It's not by your cleansing, physical cleansing. It is by appropriate utterance of sounds. Appropriate utterance of sacred sounds. Avoiding all inappropriate utterances. Not indulging into speeches. There are many regulations relating to it, which are given in the book Sound. There cannot be critical speeches, there cannot be manipulative speeches, there cannot be judgmental speeches, there cannot be misrepresentations. All these are all the basic regulations. And then use the throat to express what is to be expressed, that comes from the core of your being. Then you gain the Jupiterian principle taking birth in you, Brihaspati. The Jupiterian principle takes birth in you only when you have the right discipline relating to the throat, not otherwise. Therefore, it is one of the products of Angiras and Shraddha. And then there is the co-brother to Brihaspati. A co-brother to Brihaspati. His name is a bit difficult to pronounce. He is called Uchadhya. 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 He is in a process of learning on one side and is expressing on the other side. The throat gives the dimension of learning from the higher circles and teaching in the lower. Ut Adhya. Ut means upwards. Adhyayana is learning. Learning from higher circles, teaching in the surroundings. These are the two functions that come from Angiras. You see, in the introductory part of spiritual astrology, Master E.K. writes, these are from those whom I follow to those who follow me. These teachings are from those whom I follow to those who follow me. That means he receives from higher circles. There is a learning from higher circles and teaching in the lower circles. That is how it functions. And the ability of this Brihaspati is ability to listen the silence. He can listen in the upper quarters and express in the lower fields. So it's receiving from higher circles and transmitting into the surrounding planes. Receiving from higher and transmitting into, be it a blessing, be it a healing, be it a teaching, anything is receiving from higher circles. That's the beauty of the that's the beauty of the throat. So these two are said to have been born to, if you know, see for instance, when we read the scripture, we get the information that Angiras has two sons, one is Brihaspati, another is Uchadhya. What does it mean? What does it mean? Learning from higher circles and teaching to the surroundings with a commitment, with the quality of the soul, not the personality. Teaching is not for aggrandizing oneself as a teacher. Teaching is not for aggrandizing oneself as some man who knows some knowledge. Such teachings, they suffer infinite mortality. They don't remain. What remains is the teaching coming through the soul, from higher circles, through the soul to the surroundings. That's how Shraddha only enables the proper expression. So that's how these two are said to be the two products of Angiras and Shraddha. Then there are 4 daughters. I'll conclude with this, because we have a long journey to make. There are many Prajapatis. Each Prajapati has given birth to so many profound principles in creation, for which we have the potential. We have to know and we have to relate, we have to nourish them and we have to develop them. So it doesn't seem to be a very superficial subject, isn't it? It is so profound and it relates to us, it relates to the creation. So it is said that one of the 4 daughters that one has, that they give birth to is, one is Sumati, meaning good mind. Good mind. Persons who are choosy of their expressions, they gain a mind which is orderly, which can relate to Buddhic plane. The mind can be disturbed, distorted, crippled through irresponsible speeches. When we keep on speaking unnecessary things, our mind gets polluted. So with a polluted mind, what is it that you can comprehend from the surroundings? Nothing. And what we think is right, that is another dimension. What we see, what we listen, all that we perceive through the 5 senses is with the help of the mind. The mind perceives through the senses. But when your mind itself is so in such a disorder, and in such a crippled manner, what is it that it gains as perception? So the perceptions are bound to be different. In a given situation, there can be different perceptions. Why? Because you have destroyed the beauty of the mind with your own irresponsible utterances, indifferent utterances, malicious utterances, critical utterances, manipulative utterances, judgmental utterances, so many things. Man has not yet learned how to use the speech. So therefore, when you follow the quality of Shraddha, your mind is, see how many exercises are given to set a good mind, to set up a good mind. All those exercises, this is the best way to create a good mind through responsible utterance. That's why the seers, they don't speak as we speak. They don't speak. That is why the saying came to be, silence is golden. Isn't it? Why is called silence golden? Silence is more valuable than speech. And you speak silence slowly. What is speaking silence? We say every evening like a parrot, may we speak the silence without breaking it. How do you speak silence? In deep silence you listen. In deep silence, you listen from the higher circles. And that which you listen, you speak. Otherwise you don't speak. We do speak for our daily routine purposes. Please get me a glass of water. It doesn't cause any harm when you make such expression. To say, please get me a glass of water doesn't distort our energies. But if you say, hey, get me some water, then it is disturbed. I have to say, why people don't give me a glass of water when I speak? This is distortion. Distortions can happen very instantly when we do not know how to utter. There is a kind way of uttering, a cordial way of uttering, an arrogant way of uttering, an indifferent way of uttering. So therefore, the silence it gains. When it gains silence, it can listen from the higher circles. And therefore, what is listened to through silence is spoken out. You listen to voice in silence. That's what we call the voice of silence. In India we say Akashavani. The sky speaks to you if you are silent. Meaning the higher circles speak to us. They want to communicate to us. They are interested in communicating with us. That is what the major worry of the masters. They would like to communicate, but we have no time to listen to them. We are not silent enough to listen to them. If you stay in silence, you can listen. When you listen and speak, then your mind tends to be a good mind called Sumati. A good mind enables many things. It can experience the best of the light. The best of the light reflects upon Sumati, a clean mind, we say, a clean mind. A clean mind can experience the best of the light, which is called full moonlight. We have the full moon light coming from Marichi, but it can be experienced at the mental plane by us if we have a proper functioning Shraddha. And among all the full moon lights you have, or I have, or we have in a year, the best of the the most blissful energy of the full moon is transmitted during the full moon hours of Scorpio. Because Scorpio is the most silent sign, and in the greatest of the silence, the best of the light is experienced. That is what is called in the scriptures as Raka. Raka means that full moon light of Scorpio. That's why in India there is a great orientation to the full moon of Scorpio. A great orientation. Kartika Paurnami, they call it. The full moon in the month of Scorpio is the most sublime full moon where the deepest experience can be gained. So therefore it is said to be the product of Shraddha and Angiras. Two brothers, one sister good mind, another sister Raka. Full moon, light of Scorpio, meaning profound experience of light and nothing but light. Nothing but light. This Raka light, which is the best of full moon light, is also present in every full moon. Another dimension. It is available to us at the full moon point in every full moon. See, we see in the West, our brothers and sisters, we look to the full moon point and try to meditate around that point of time just before we gather, and then relate to get the very essence of the full moon. People, even if it is midnight, they wake up, they prepare themselves and they relate to the full moon point. The full moon point is that point after which you get the next phase. The full moon point is the optimum at which you get the best of the full moon light. That is called Raka. When it comes to Scorpio, the entire full moon phase provides that light. The entire full moon phase provides that light. Therefore, the full moon of Scorpio is called Raka, and it is born out of our relating to Shraddha and Angiras. So that is considered in this dimension has come out from the Prajapati Angiras in relation with the Shraddha. See, if you have Shraddha, you can see many things around this place. Many people are coming for many years and many people are living here for many years. But around this place, if you have this Shraddha, you can see many things. That's how the seers see. But if we inform those many things which are generally not visible, what happens? The group becomes emotional and try to build their own illusions. So they are emotional relating to. Isn't it? That's why a seer never speaks the hidden dimensions of a place. He lets the people to experience by themselves. By informing, what we do is we build the emotion and create many illusions around it. Many illusions. But that would not happen if we are relating to Shraddha. And there are two more daughters of whom I commence tomorrow. Because I won't be doing justice to those daughters if I start speaking of them now. I would only mention their name. One is called Sini Vali, like cinema. Sini Vali, another is Kuhu. Sini Vali and Kuhu. There are some very sublime dimensions which can be experienced just with the best of functioning with the throat. Notice the fulcrum. It relates the higher and the lower centers in us. Just because it is posited at the throat, the center, don't think it is higher than heart. It is the fulcrum between the three centers below the diaphragm and the three centers above the diaphragm. Heart, Ajna and Sahasrara on one side, solar plexus, sacral and Mooladhara on the other side. These two are, their fulcrum is the throat, therefore throat is important. And throat is humanity. So for humanity to realize the three lower worlds and the three upper worlds, the doors are open through throat. That's why initiating humanity is called initiating the throat center. When the throat center is initiated, a man turns out to be an initiate in the sense he realizes in him the higher planes as also the lower planes. So thank you. We will continue tomorrow. We have exactly 7 minutes to come back and join. I am following the watch behind you.
Om